Shalom. Today is March 11th, and it is day 157 of the war in Israel. Let's take a look into what Israelis are reading today. Yediot Achronot, we see U.S. President Joe Biden, and it says, the red line, Hakav Ha'adom Shel Biden, it's speaking about the criticism that Netanyahu personally is receiving from Biden. We see this also in Haaretz, saying Biden says that Netanyahu is causing Israel more harm, nezek, than good. And the Prime Minister, Israel's Prime Minister Netanyahu says he is wrong. Most of the population in Israel supports my policies. So when we open up the newspaper soon, we'll see more commentary about the big crisis between Israel and the U.S. In addition to that, today's the first whole day of Ramadan. Zman Ramadan. Ramadan is the holy month of the Muslim people worldwide, and here in Israel, it's especially tense, and we see here IDF soldiers in the old city guarding and securing the place. Let's take a look inside. First, about Biden and Israel. And it reads, the criticism of Biden that said in the weekend that Netanyahu causes more harm than good. This shows the deep crisis between the two leaders. Officials in the American government say that the rhetoric, the words of Biden may become harsher, but still America will support Israel with the military aid that it needs. On the right here, we read a opinion by a very well-known reporter, Ben Dror Yamini. He calls it Mashber Mesukan, a dangerous crisis. And he says this might not be the largest crisis ever since the establishment of Israel as a state, but it is the most dangerous one. It is not imminent, but it is on the way to one of the most dangerous crises that Israel has had with America, because, and he says, Israel is really dependent on military aid by the U.S., not only defense military aid, but also offense military aid. If we put these two articles together, the side ones, they're suggesting that Biden is actually concerned more about his Muslim voters coming up in November in the elections, rather than the Jewish voters, as Muslims are so many more voters. His political advisors are suggesting he goes with Bibi needs to go home. That's his statement. This will bring more Muslims to vote for him. So obviously these red signs are big news here in Israel. Israelis are concerned. And this is because also the U.S. is Israel's greatest partner in the world in every way. Right here I continue. It says that the government officials in the U.S. say that America will continue to pressure Hamas for a hostage exchange deal with prisoners, terrorist prisoners in Israel. But they think that Netanyahu will refuse any offers that will come from Hamas. They say, we are concerned that he will blow the deal up, that in any case, Netanyahu wants to drag this war on, or drag the deal on. And down here, there's news about the north, saying that the fire exchange in the north is continuing between Hezbollah and Israel. Hezbollah is taking responsibility over barrages, many barrages of missiles towards the northern part of Israel, and the IDF is responding with attacks in Lebanon. Up here we see a photograph of the big U.S. military ship called Frank Basson coming from the U.S. to the Gaza shores in Israel, and it's carrying you can call it a portable dock, a marine dock that's going to float against the shorelines of Gaza, and it's going to help with humanitarian aid and help the citizens there in that way. There is some concerns that the IDF soldiers will be busy with distributing this humanitarian aid rather with operations that they're supposed to do. It will add some pressure on the IDF soldiers. This is because the U.S. military does not have a very clear plan of distribution of this aid, according to the newspaper. Here's an article that gives a look into what Israeli society is going through right now inside, and it says they have remained silent. This is about the Knesset members that are remaining silent in light of the threat that the Sephardic senior rabbi, his name is Yitzchak Yosef, said. The threat is, and I'm quoting here from the side, "Im yachrichu otanu lalechet latzava, ניסע כולנו לחו"ל. If they will force us to go to the military, to serve in the military, we'll all leave Israel. So this is a response to the efforts of the coalition to bring a law that makes the military service equal for everyone, including the ultra-Orthodox Jews that today do not serve in the military. They study in yeshivot and study the Torah instead. So he's really, he's causing a very big drift here. And this is after 5 months of fighting in Gaza. Many national religious Jews are fighting. And he's just causing a big division here in a very sensitive time. And the coalition could completely fall apart. That's why they remain silent. The Knesset members in the coalition remain silent in response to his threat. Here in the photograph, we see the Rabbi Yitzchak Yosef, the senior Sephardic rabbi. And really, these senior rabbis in the government, paid by the government, they have so much power, so much influence. It's hard to imagine how much influence they really have. And that's why the news is so big. Here's an opinion article, and here are two more commentaries about this threat and about the time. And in the center, we see the cartoon of the rabbi in the airport. We see departures here in Hebrew, hamraot, and he's saying, "V'shemishu yinaseh la'atzor oti," and that someone will try to stop me, and he's leaving Israel. They're also saying that really, part of the opinions here, that really we will not see the ultra-Orthodox serving in the military, because in the end of the day, we have no power to force them. Tanks won't go into the religious neighborhoods and force them to go to the military. So that's what's going on inside the government today. The next story is about Ramadan. It says, Israel b'milchama, Israel's at war. You know this already. And it says, me'ot shotrim berachvei ha'ir ha'tika. Hundreds of cops throughout the old city of Jerusalem. Chashash me'itlakchut. There's a fear that things will flare up in Jerusalem, which is specifically the Temple Mount and Judea and Samaria area. Here in the photograph, we see IDF soldiers and standby, just ready for any incident. Here it says Arviyei Israel, which is the Arab Israelis in Israel that also celebrate the Ramadan as a holy month. They're in the mosque here, they're praying, they're worshiping. So the Ramadan in Israel every year is very tense, but in light of the war, in the shadow of the war, it's even more tense. Sinwar would like things to flare up. He can control the situation in Israel through Palestinians just, causing havoc and terror attacks and everything. So there is a lot of reinforcement of IDF troops and battalions. Everybody is very tense, and this is for the whole month. To the next page about our heroes that will not return. The first is Amishar ben David, that fell in the Gaza Strip. And they say he was an extraordinary man. He donated a year ago his kidney to a stranger, a person he did not know. His sisters called him a migdalor, a lighthouse. They're just speaking about what a special man he was, and we see them in the funeral here. Michael Gal, 29 years old, from Jerusalem, and his girlfriend said, "You are the king, you're the funniest of all, you're a great friend." He also fell in battle. Maybe their memory be blessed. I want to end with a nice invitation to Israelis. In this newspaper, it reads, Miflas Matzav HaRuach, the level of the mood. And even though we're seeing the Kinneret here, the Sea of Galilee, they say the mood has actually gone down, perhaps because of the war, but the level of the Sea of Galilee is high. There's only 1 meter left to call it a full Sea of Galilee, full amount of water. So every Israeli is always concerned about how much water does the Kinneret have. It's always an issue. And now the Kinneret is almost completely full. And here's an invitation to Israelis to walk on the water. It reads, Lalechet al hamayim. They say everything is blooming around there. Lots of flowers, lots of greens. They're giving different trails that Israelis will enjoy. And it says, yes, it's true. Matzav haruach, the mood, might be detached from the level of the water, and still it is worth giving a few hours to walk around the Kinneret, around the Sea of Galilee, and to be filled with beauty and grace. Beyofi v'chesed. For more updates, visit us at allisrael.com. Subscribe to our channel, like this video if you liked it, and share it with your friends. This is Rotem Magen for All Israel News.